Alright, so today we are going to try put a Patrol Drum handbrake on the back of the transfer case of the Jackaroo transfer case. So what I've got is, so this is the Jackaroo transfer case, and good thing about them is they have this flange, unlike the Rodeos, where it's like a slipping joint. And I've got a Patrol handbrake, so that's the drum, that's the braking mechanism with the drum, with the pads, and try to put it on here. So this I've got to come off, and that's got to go on. But those bolt holes there are just bigger than all these here, so I was hoping I could have filled those with weld and drill and tap them, but that's not going to happen. So I'm going to cut a custom plate, so I'll weld a plate to the back of this, which will take up those bolt holes, and then put it all together like that, and then put the drum on, which also is a different bolt pattern to that because it's bigger. So you can sort of see there, it's like a lot bigger. And the other dilemma was, this is the Patrol one, which I could have used that, but the spline in here is a lot bigger. So yeah, a bit of custom fitting to make this fit, but we're going to make it work. And the reason why I'm going with the drum setup of a Patrol is because they just work. Like, they're actually one of the best handbrakes I've ever used. And because the Rodeo handbrake used to be on the back diff, and now we're using the Patrol diff. So the only diffs that have the handbrake at the diffs, the 48s. I don't have one of those, and I can't really get hold of one right now. So I'll just do this setup, plus it'll be a good handbrake anyway, so it's good compromise. So for that plate, I'm gonna weld to the back of the transfer case. I've got some 10mm aluminium. So I'm basically just going to drop this on here, trace these bolt holes and the center hole, cut all that out, and then literally just cut this to size, put it on the back of the transfer case and weld it to it. So I got this new blade, which I'm going to try on the cordless grinder. I'm going to use it for alley. It reckons it can do steel, but I don't know. I'm going to give it a shot. I've used the actual Widowmaker saws on the air grinders before, and they actually worked really good. But I'm going to give this a shot and see how many limbs I don't lose. The wrong way. Mince's alley. Back, yeah. That's sick. Alright, we'll drill holes. So I've got my plate drilled, so what I'm going to do is I'll tap out these holes and thread the M10s into that. So the M10s will go through there, hold this to this plate, and this plate will get welded to the back of the transfer case. So I just tacked on that plate I've made, and now we're just going to test fit this handbrake setup. So it should just go on there. That. Something like that. So yeah, and then basically goes back in there, but that's sealed. So another issue is this center hole needs some die grinding out because this seal bit, or bit for the seal, won't fit through it. But yeah, that's pretty much it. Put this, I think I've got to make a spacer between these two, because when this is on, it's out there, and that flange doesn't quite reach it when it's pushed all the way in, so it's just easy, just a spacer, sit between these, put some bolts through it, and then we can continue with our tail shaft from here. So yeah, I'll just finish off this, and hopefully it all goes together how I think it will. So I've got that flange in there now. I'm just going to measure how much of a spacer I'm actually going to need. So it'll be about 30 mil will do it. Yeah, so make a 30 mil spacer to sit between this flange and this face, and that will have us, this drum spaced out nicely to get it off the front, so it's not sitting on the back of that. Let's have it out a bit. Yeah, that's our handbrake. So yeah, that's our handbrake setup. So we got the plate welded to the gearbox. I've still got to finish welding it. This bolted to that plate. The standard Jackaroo output flange, which will go on. go on there. Then that adapter that we built, so that gets bolted on that way. I just got to get some bolts and tap it out first, but yeah, that will go on there. And then the drum will bolt to the other side of that adapter, right to there. So that also means the Patrol standard tail shaft for the rear. So that's now a Patrol stud pattern for the uni. And then back at the diff, which will be there, is the Patrol flange. So it's literally just a Patrol tail shaft, just custom length. And yeah, it just makes everything sort of simple. And that's the spacer we made. So that was 28mm wide. And then we got the bolt pattern for the Jackaroo flange on one side, which is there, like that. And then if we flip it, that stud pattern is for this drum. But yeah, I've got there, sort of get the gist of it. But yeah, it's got to get some bolts tomorrow to tap this out. And what I'll do is I'll put that into there, I'll drill into it, tap, put some cap head screws into that. So when you put that on, that'll be one piece when it slides into there. And then that will be facing like that. And then you bolt the drum to that basically. So yeah, that's the plan. Hopefully it all works. For the cable, so we got this eye, that's the end of it. We come up to here, that's the Rodeo standard handbrake. So all I really got to do is make a bracket to go on there to pick up the eye, poke the other end of the handbrake through one of these holes, and yeah, when you pull on the handbrake, it'll pull it tighter. So that end's pretty simple. But yeah, we'll get to that. All right, so just an update on our handbrake. So this is the Jackaroo output flange from the transfer case. That was that spacer we made. So what I ended up doing was I tapped it out, put the bolts in, but cut the heads off and welded the flange to that adapter. So why I welded the, so why I did that basically was because in here, once that output flange went in, that moves and that would hit on all the bolt heads as they come round, which is fine when you stopped and pull the handbrake on, but if you, we'll say someone pulled the handbrake on while you were moving, that would have smashed all those bolt heads and probably done some damage. And also to combat that is in here, I've machined up a 6mm spacer and it's put over that spline to actually bring that flange out a bit. So that was to miss that as well. For this end, I drilled and tapped out the adapter we made, and they're 1/2 inch high tensile or 1/2 inch grade 8. There was all thread, so it was this. Cut it up, threaded them in. Also machined up in here, there. So like these spacers, so that's like, that sits in the grooves, like your tail shafts here. So like self centers in those grooves. Then basically all the studs do is hold that onto the, like the flange. So that sits on there now. Should. Yeah, so that goes on there when it goes on. And all this now fits in the car. And that is it, all assembled in the car. So you basically just push the flange into the spline, and then there's a nut on the thread, but I haven't got it in yet. So you put the nut on there, that's it. So next we'll be hooking the cable up, but as I showed you before, that's pretty easy. That's just through there and make it join to that. And that's a Patrol handbrake on a Jackaroo transfer case. And yeah, so now it's just a standard Patrol tail shaft for this side, and then because I got the Patrol diff on the back, it's literally just a standard Patrol tail shaft, but mine will be just a custom length. So that just makes everything easy for uni joints and stuff like that.